What's up, Coding 2? Mr. Agnos here. This is part 2 of my animation review video. In the previous video, I introduced you guys to push matrix, pop matrix, and the translate function, or the translate command for animation, and now we're actually going to make that animation happen. If you have not watched part 1, I will attempt to make what's called a card appear here. You need to watch part 1 first. I will also link to part 1 at the end of this video. Okay, so here's the program I was working on. I'll do a quick review here. I have 3 characters. A Minecraft. You know, I figured, hey, if you're in a coding class, you're a super nerd like me, and so I got some super nerdy characters here. I got my Minecraft Creeper, I got the Pikachu, and I got the Starfire. And inside each of these little purple boxes here is the code for those characters. I showed you how to condense that code to make your programs cleaner. We created variables for each of our characters. The Creeper, we're going to move horizontally, or how I like to say, in the X direction. So we created a variable for the X position of the Creeper. Starfire, we're going to move vertically, so we created a variable for the Y position of Starfire. And Pikachu, we're going to move diagonally, so we created a variable for the X and Y positions of Pikachu. We got our draw function, which draws the program over and over, so anytime you animate, you have to have a draw function. Our background is inside the draw function, so it's getting drawn over and over, so we don't get that smearing effect. And then I introduced you guys to push matrix and pop matrix. And what those do is they create a new canvas. So the Creeper is on his own canvas. And then rather than animating every, and I think he's only rectangles, rather than animating every single little rectangle that makes up the Creeper, we're just going to use one variable to animate the entire canvas that he is on. And we did the same thing for the other 2 characters. The translate command, I'll redo this one right here. It takes 2 parameters, how much you want to move left or right, and how much you want to move up or down. Well, we want to move the Creeper by our variable amount, which currently is 0, but we're going to change that. And we don't want to move him up or down at all, so we're going to hard code that number at 0. And we did the same thing for the other 3 characters. Okay. All that's left at this point is to change our variable. And the way we do that is inside our draw function. Remember, my draw function ends down here with this closed bracket. Inside my draw function, I'm going to say that X Creeper, and I'm going to add 1 to it every time that the draw function goes through one loop. Which means my Creeper here will move to the right. Remember, the X position of 0 is over here, and 400 is over here. So if I want my Creeper to move to the right, I need X to get bigger. If I want him to go to the left, I would subtract 1. And there's different ways to do this. The shortest way is by the ++ and then semicolon. And you can see there he goes, and he in fact is going to go and disappear. If I hit restart, he should come back to his initial position, and hey, he attacked Pikachu. Nothing happened. Don't mess with Pikachu. He's got the lightning tail. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is, I think we'll do Starfire, because she only has 1 variable. So I'm going to do Starfire. And again, I'm going to do ++. I want her to move down the screen. Now, this takes a little getting used to when you're first starting to animate. Because remember, in math class, if I was moving down this direction, we'd actually be at negative y values, and you think you might want to subtract. But in this case, remember, the top of my screen here has a y value of 0, and the bottom of my screen has a y value of 400. So if I want her to move down the screen, I need to add. If I want her to move up the screen, I subtract. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do ++. That adds 1. That's sort of shorthand for adding 1. If I want to add a different amount, I would have to type in different commands. And there she goes. Oh, and you can kind of tell what layer they're on by who gets drawn on top of who. And then the last one is Pikachu, and we have 2 variables here to change. So I'll do Pikachu. All right. Now Pikachu is in the far right, bottom right-hand corner. If I add to both his variables, he's going to quickly disappear in this direction off the screen. So I want him to move in this direction. So I want both his x and his y to get smaller. So I'm going to do minus minus. So that's going to subtract 1 each time. So watch what happens when I do this. He should move to the left. There he goes. And I'll do y, Pikachu, minus minus. And now because I'm going to move the x and the y, he should move diagonally. There he goes. Okay, I'm going to hit restart, and we'll see all 3 characters moving at the same time. There they go. A lot of times you might want the animation to last a little longer, right? This is over pretty quick. So I'll go back up to Creeper, and rather than adding 1 every time, I'll say x Creeper gets x Creeper, and then let's add some amount. And let's make that amount less than 1. So rather than 1, I'll add 0. And then semicolon. So now every time it runs a frame, it's only going to add 0.1. So it's going to move a lot slower. I'm going to do the same thing for all these characters here. And that way we'll actually get more time to see them moving on the screen. And for this one, we'll subtract. And for this one, we will subtract. Okay. Oh, nope, I still added there. Starfire, yeah, we're good. So now you can see that all 3 characters are still moving, but they're moving slower, and so we sort of get more time with them on the screen. You can actually number scrub these numbers, right? And notice what happens if I put this into the negative. If I add a negative, and I restart, then the creeper is moving to the left. Remember, adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So a lot of different things you can do here. All right, I'll restart one more time. Add a 0. We'll restart. Okay. So that is one way to animate. There's more than one way to animate. We're going to use more than one way to animate. I think this is the fastest way for if you have sort of a complex shape like Starfire. So you got lots of layers, lots of pieces. This is a big time saver. There are situations where we're going to want to use the old-fashioned way where we change every single variable. But now we have 2 different tools, right? For maybe a more basic animation, this is a great tool to do it. All right, if you have any questions or you missed the first part of the video, I'll link to it after this one. Hit me up with questions in the comments or send me an email. This was animation part 2. Thanks, guys.
Also, remember to stay healthy and don't get COVID. I'll see you